Hi, I'm Dr. Valorie Prahl. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist and a chiropractor, and I have written a book called Body Messengers. The book is all about archetypes. Archetypes are universal patterns, personalities, and attributes, and they're universal blueprints that affect us all. I have broken down the universal patterns of illness based on the 12 archetypes related to the planets and the houses they represent. Like each of us have all the planets in our charts, we all have all of the archetypes working within us. So the 12 archetypes are related to the different planets associated with the different houses of the zodiac. So there's Mars and Venus and Jupiter and Saturn and all of the different planets that have to do with the different archetypes. For example, the sun archetype is a fire sign, and it has to do with authentic self-expression. If you're not acting authentically, you may develop a heart condition or an eye condition. Conversely, the moon is a water sign related to emotions. So if you have trouble with your emotions, it could be related to nurturing and reflecting. If you're not allowed to nurture a child, a project, or yourself, which you may get moody or feel like a victim, if left long enough, then your stomach will be upset, or your female organs will take over and act in a dysfunctional way. I use the different archetypes to describe what would happen if you don't take care of them. Mars is associated with courage and self-confidence, and Jupiter is affected with expansion and soul growth. Air archetypes are communication and connection, which is Mercury of Gemini. Uranus is related to originality, laughter, and surprise. Earth archetypes, there's the Venus of Taurus, which is security and home, relationships, and soul and consciousness. And Mercury of Virgo, which is controlling actions and releasing from outcomes. They all have different consciousness that have to do with different aspects of the whole. Some people will find that one archetype will be one that they need to pay attention to, but I find that each of the health conditions that I have relates to a different archetype. So if I have a problem with my stomach, I know it's the moon. If I have a problem with my digestive tract, the lower part, I know it's my Pluto or my Venus. So it really relates to all the different archetypes. My book is targeted to anyone who is open to seeing the world as a whole and seeing that all of the health conditions are related to our physical body as well as our spiritual and mental bodies. I would say I wrote it for people, women who are age 40 to 65, but it could be for anyone at all. So I first learned about the archetypes from Dr. Rudiger Dahlke. He wrote about 50 books on the archetypes and the relationships, and it was a fascinating course, and I learned a lot. But my education showed me that there was a lot more that could be done with health conditions than fasting and psychotherapy. I found that, which is what Dr. Dahlke promoted. I found that all the strategies work together. If you cleared up a nutritional need, then the mental or spiritual need would be taken care of. If you worked out relationships, then the structural problems would be taken care of. If you enhance the genetics, then all of the problems seem to be better. The healthcare system in our country doesn't work. It takes care of the symptoms, but it doesn't take care of the problems. So, and that's why I feel that this book takes that symptom and it underlies the problem, the actual problem that needs to be corrected. If you don't believe in archetypes, just look at the conditions and find some of the interesting ideas on what will make them better. I'm a doctor, so either you believe my facts or not. The physical, nutritional, environmental, and genetic research I had learned from my multiple courses that I've taken. Special thanks go to Dr. Jay Dunn and Dr. Bob Rukowski. The creative visualizations came from my friend Dawn Morningstar, and the mental, emotional, and relational findings came from Mark Waldman, me, and Stephanie Kroger, a good friend of mine who is a mental health provider. My favorite part was working with the other people on coming up with the ideas for the different strategies related to the archetypes. I spent the whole time with myself writing the book, and so it was good to have those other people to work with. The whole book, applies to my life. For example, I have conflicts and problems that affect each of the archetypes. I have a number of my challenges mentioned throughout the book. Each time I have a health condition, I know it relates to one of the archetypes. I had a stroke in 2022, which is why I use this and why I have to read and come up with the different aspects. So it relates to the Uranus archetype. I have teeth problems now, which relate to the Mars archetype. I know that Saturn is playing with me as I grow older. I know I have a tendency towards heart conditions, so I have the Sun archetype. All of the archetypes play out in our lives, and each of them have a factor in your life. Ruth, an executive in charge of more than 50 employees, came to see me for a right leg and ankle swelling. She reported it came on gradually over the previous 3 months. It wasn't painful, but she was quite concerned. Her ankle was puffy and her shoe was tight. My body scan revealed that her right kidney was the primary problem. The kidneys, related to Venus of Libra, the archetype associated with balance and sensuality, was related. Imagine walking through the Louvre Museum in Paris, admiring the statues and the fine art, then taking the train to Versailles, where wandering through the palace grounds and perfectly designed gardens is a sensual delight. Feel the exquisite balance of the design. See the extravagance and the ornate beauty. Visualize a princess and the prince strolling among the statues and fountains on the grounds. This sensual appreciation is the essence of Venus of Libra. Ruth is strikingly beautiful with bright green eyes and a warm smile. 54 years old, she wears her business suit and chunky gold matching jewelry. Her makeup is impeccable and her brown hair is stylishly cut at shoulder length. She is a consummate professional. In addition to her busy job, she stops and cares for her elderly parents at the end of each workday. Her siblings live across the country, so the job of checking on mom and dad has fallen to her. She is the oldest daughter, and her 2 brothers expect her to take the responsibility. She knows her mom and dad are failing a bit, but for now they are stable and she can live at home without assistance. They wouldn't take assistance from anyone outside of the family anyway. She truly enjoys the visit at the end of her busy workday. Unfortunately, this means she gets home at close to 7 o'clock and she still needs to prepare a meal. Our consultation revealed that much of her life was about being of service, giving out until there was no time to give to herself. I was able to share that I have experienced the same type of imbalance in my own life. My recommendations including nutrients to support her kidney and to help release fluids naturally, and it was effective after a few weeks. On a follow-up visit, our conversation arrived at how kidneys are related to balance. With work, she was not able to create balance between her masculine and feminine aspects. Since it was on the right side, the masculine side, her body was indicating that the masculine side was working too hard in relationship to the feminine side. Her job required her to step into a more masculine role by giving instructions to others and by overseeing the office. I asked her what she could do to enhance her feminine receiving and creative energy. She admitted that she let her creative juices dry up in the busyness of life. Things had gotten out of balance. She assured me that she would rest more and do the things and projects that nurtured her feminine side. She pulled out her knitting needles and started baking again. These activities helped her to find balance in the past, but she moved these activities to the back burner. I'm not saying that traditional women's activities are the only way to nurture. We revealed that nurturing, listening, reflecting, and nurturing creative projects are all feminine in nature. We could very well have chosen to nurture herself with meditation, prayer, and massage. She could have walked in the woods, read a new book, gone to a lecture to hear fresh ideas, listened to music, taken a dance class, or hooked a rug. Ruth chose baking and knitting. Her swelling went away, and so did the need for specific nutrients for her kidney. Well, Michael, my husband, of course, was instrumental in getting this work published. He allowed me lots of time to write and to research, and he did the final editing before it went to the publisher. Dawn Morningstar was the impetus for getting the work started. It never would have been written without her. And my mastermind friends, Elizabeth Patricia Connor, Lisa Walker, and Jean Cheneker, were encouraging me throughout the process. I know that there's a lot of other people who I would say thank you to, but those are the most important ones.